Hello, welcome back. It's season 2 of the And Finally podcast with me, Wilko.
And me, Adam.
Thanks very much for joining us once again. Hope you like this new feature. Should be an interesting watch.
Yes.
I predict we're going to knock things over.
We're going to knock things over, and we don't know whether we should be looking at the camera or not yet. So it might just be like a little bit creepy at some points, but we'll give it a go.
And you can still enjoy it in audio. Welcome back to the And Finally podcast. Great to be back. I am Wilko.
And I am Adam.
This is the podcast which in season 1 brought you the McDonald's secret menu, a dancing man, a pig running for mayor, the Hamburglar, a cheeky Nando's with a side order of top quality banter, inflatable minions, kissing Madonna, beanie babies, getting lost in IKEA, the blue, black, white, gold dress, killer robots. It's all about funny, interesting, thought-provoking stories, and it's good to be back.
It is lovely, and we kick off with story number 5.
Each fortnight we get, it's fair to say, an animal story in here somewhere, don't we?
Yeah.
Let's be honest, let's cut straight to it, because we just can't help ourselves, really. And our cat's had a bit of a lucky escape in the past fortnight, and so we thought we'd start here because we're not trying to hide anything. We like stories about animals, don't we, really?
Might as well start off with like we mean to carry on.
I think when you fall 125 metres off cliffs, you don't really expect to live. And yet, cats, notorious for having 9 lives, this one managed to shake it off. Pretty impressive.
I don't even know how that would, like how far that would fall. I mean, what's the thing where cats will always land on their feet, no matter where they jump from, and wherever they do, they always land on their feet. So is there, and sort of in the article, does it say whether they landed on their feet or not, or was we just sort of implying that, or we just guessing that?
We're pretty much guessing.
Okay.
Yeah, the injuries sustained don't suggest at this point whether or not there was landing on the feet. I'm going to go with probably not. Any kind of landing was probably going to be advantageous to the cat. 400 feet, 125 metres, this in the Mirror in the past fortnight. It happened at Burling Gap in East Sussex, onto jagged rocks as well. We're not talking about nice soft sand. Sand soft?
Yeah, sand is pretty soft.
Well,
yeah.
reasonably soft. It's not the best. And this cat, which the article claims should now be called Lucky, see what they've done there, escaped with only a fractured jaw and broken tooth. White and brown feline. Where's the name? There's no name here. Surely that's the information that we were really looking for.
Unless that was why it was on the cliff in the first place. I don't even have a name. No, wait. Oh, it's like go Wilko. Oh, well, you survived something really, really dangerous. You know, we should just call you Lucky. Yeah, but my name's Wilko. Well, it's not even Wilko. That's a nickname. But
I don't want to be called Lucky. A spokesperson for the National Trust said he is such a cutie. So we're getting more and more information. The National Trust claims the Burling Gap has suffered 7 years worth of erosion in the past few months alone. So the cat just caught out by the rapid state of erosion on our coastline.
Do you want to hear some other stories of things that have fallen massively and survived well?
Obviously.
What about our South African Christine McKenzie, who fell 2 miles?
2 miles?
2 miles. I don't even understand that.
Well, that escalated quickly. We've gone from 125 metres to 2 miles.
Yeah, out the way, Lucky the cat. Yeah, she fell for 2 miles after her parachute didn't open, and she fell onto some power lines, which helpfully broke the fall. The injury that she got was to her finger. She survived. What does it say here? She nearly got everything that went wrong did. She nearly fell into everything. It just sounds awful. But there's loads of really good stories about people surviving stuff, and a lot of them are coming from the sort of the wars. Obviously, when you're in an aircraft, you've got that dilemma. Your plane's being shot. You're flying down. You know, you're going to eject, but you don't want to put your parachute up because then people will see you in the sky and snipe at you.
Happens all the time.
Well, yeah. I mean, I understand that I said that with some sort of air of familiarity. No idea. Yeah. But the thing about that is that once you're at that height, if you don't pull the parachute immediately, you'll pass out because of the lack of oxygen. So what's happened is these fighter pilots have ejected, gone, I'll pull it in a bit when I'm close to the ground, passed out instantly because of oxygen. But one pilot, let me just find his name. He's a British pilot, Nicholas Alcamade, he did something very impressive. He decided to jump backwards, somersault out of the cockpit. He probably passed out due to the immediate lack of oxygen, so he never got a chance to pull his ripcord. There was no slope waiting for him. He landed in, this is very cartoony, a forest full of pine trees, and he just passed through each of the leaves like one of those, like the cartoons, until he got a very soft landing on the floor. Nice. He did have one injury, however. He had a cut over his eye and a sprained ankle.
Minor, considering.
The Germans caught him, and then they got suspicious of his story because they thought he must have been a spy, because obviously he didn't have he had one scratch on him, and then they found the aeroplane, and so they corroborated his story was true, and he was labelled as a hero, and they even gave him a certificate. So that's one thing.
Made it all right then, didn't it? Oh, good. Well done.
One thing I do think about though is with the cat, like landing on all fours, if that's their thing, and like toasted bread never landing anything other than butter side down.
It's well known. Yeah.
What would happen if you put some bread with butter, toast on butter, on a cat? I have heard this before, but I can't remember where it's from. But it's just suddenly popped into my mind. And tied it to the bag, would it just spin forever?
I think a black hole would open, and all time and space as we know it would just compound into this black hole, because that's an impossibility that one of those things could land on the ground, either butter side or cat back side. Just wouldn't happen. Just not possible. You're blowing my mind.
Or if it's through a pine trees. Going through, I'm not suggesting doing it through your Christmas tree, but maybe I am.
That's something to consider anyway. Talking of lucky escapes in the last couple of weeks, you see this story, a whale breaching over a kayak off the California coast. A pair of kayakers, British kayakers, were merrily just rowing, kayaking themselves along, when a whale leapt out of the water.
No.
And the worst thing about this video, or the best, is that all these tourists on a whale watching boat were saying, "Oh, that's amazing, look at that, wow, those guys had a great view." Yeah, sure they did. Going like this, whoa!
Yeah. That's it, with the cameras out trying to take a selfie.
They were fine. They escaped unhurt as well. Those are the stories we like, where it just seems impossible to survive. And yet, like Lucky the cat, awful name, and like these kayakers, and like that soldier as well, they managed to just about get away with it.
Story number 4 relates to two of my favourite things, linked by one childhood favourite TV show. Yes, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Two themes of that coming up in this story, and see if you can figure out which two. So there's a pretty entertaining video of a rat in a New York City subway making its way down some stairs with a slice of pizza, which is funny because we can all relate to staggering home after a night out eating junk food. Here's what I'd like to point out though. The YouTube video only has a few hundred views right now, but this is somehow doing it on Facebook with 9.2 quadrillion people talking about this, which is a billion or so times as many people there are on planet Earth. So it's just basically a rat carrying some pizza downstairs.
That's all it is. There's no more to the story. It's a rat carrying pizza.
Have you seen the video?
Yeah.
I haven't seen the video.
It's a rat.
And that's all it's doing?
Grabs a slice of pizza, drags it down the steps. People went mad for it.
Where does it grab it from?
Huh?
Where does it grab the pizza
from? Oh, well, I
from?
assume someone's just dropped it. And yet, people have gone crazy for this. It's like the whole black blue dress thing again.
Yeah.
It's like, which other YouTube phenomenon do you want to grab? That keyboard cat.
Oh no, that was before the internet. That was invented before the internet.
And that's all it is. And yet, as you say, 9.2 quintillion. People were talking about this story so much. They couldn't get enough of it. Pizza, rats. It just sparked up something off with people. Just days later, I really like this on Twitter, from the Los Feliz daycare in California, reported the following quote. People had gone mad for it. Just days later, after the pizza rat saga had reached its zenith and come back down again, they tweeted, "Nothing matters, pizza rat is 100% dead by now." And that was from Miri, aged 47 months.
Oh.
Our resident existential nihilist. Big fan of that.
Is she just confused either that the story's gone dead, or is she actually insinuating that the rat is now dead?
Because of the pizza, who can say? Is pizza for rats?
I don't know.
That's not for me to judge. Lindsay Robertson wrote on the Mashable website. However, this then went even further, because not only did you have this video of a rat just carrying pizza around, she writes that you may have thought to yourself after seeing that this story could use a dash of sex appeal. Because yes, there is a Halloween costume that has been made out of the pizza rat story. It's kind of grey and white,
Yeah.
And it's got 2 pizza slices, like fabric pizza slices just there. And it's kind of sexy if you like pizza and rats. And it's retailing for $89.95. And it comes from Yandy, the same site that thought it was a good idea to create a sexy Cecil the Lion costume. You remember Cecil the Lion, of course, killed by that dentist. And a sexy Donald Trump costume. Answers to any questions like, but why, or no, seriously, why, cannot be answered here.
I don't know. This is very strange.
YouTube phenomenon, what are you going to do?
Do you think we could get that and Left Shark costumes in time for Halloween?
Referring to a previous podcast, Finally podcast, the Left Shark, one of the dancers of... Which singer was it?
Katy Perry.
It was Katy Perry, who seemed to have no coordination whatsoever and then became a YouTube phenomenon as well.
But there's literally, there's pictures of everything. There's a picture here of a rat with a slice of pizza.
Believe in your dreams.
Believe in your dreams. Or you could even go, believe in your cheese. No, I don't know. It's just, it's incredible. I don't understand. There's got to be a remix somewhere. There's got to be some sort of tunes.
I would have thought. Snack range, maybe.
Yeah.
Pizza, rat on a pizza.
It's going to get very confusing because, as I alluded in the beginning, obviously the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, big fans of pizza, big fans of a big talking rat thing. You know, if you go to a Halloween party and there's the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles there, it's going to get a bit confusing.
Got more to say about them a little later in the podcast, actually, those turtles. Should just give a shout out as well to Milli Vanilli on Twitter, who wrote, might just forget the rat part and dress as a sexy pizza instead. And I think that would be well advised. Do you need the rat? Probably not. Story number 3 is all about those hobbies that all of us have, let's be honest, which might be considered not the most exciting. We're not talking about surfing or skydiving or anything like that. We're talking about those dull hobbies that you just can't help yourself, you just love to do them. Collecting things, painting things, anything like that is to be celebrated. And that's exactly what Leyland Carlson has done, because he thought he'd found the dullest men in the UK last year, but now he's found even more. He's put together a book, The Dullest Men in the UK, and the 40 mundane men include all sorts. He himself is well equipped to talk about this topic because he himself is the assistant vice president, so not even the president or the real vice president of the Dull Men's Club. So he knows and he cares about these people.
It's even a dull title.
Well, there you go. So some of these dull men include Peter Willis from Worcester, whose mission is to photograph as many of Britain's postboxes as he possibly can. David Morgan from the Cotswolds has the world's largest traffic cone collection, rivaling a few students, I would have thought, with that one. Actor Tim Barker, who lives in Cumbria, has been collecting toy soldiers and now has more than 12,000. Nick West from Clevedon in Somerset has spent 40 years collecting more than 7,500 British beer cans. Why? Paul Rabbit, great name, from Bedfordshire, has visited 300 bandstands. Mick Chester spends his spare time photographing plaques. The list goes on and on. Some of them, I don't think, not that dull. Anthony Cook, who built a World War I tank and keeps it on his driveway in Cottenham, Cambridgeshire.
That's pretty good. We got the Hill Measurers, John Barnard, Moradon Phillips and Mr Graham Jackson love making their time go quicker by climbing a big mountain with what looks like a UFO and measuring mountains. They might get a map. I don't know.
It's to decide, not to sound dull. It's to work out whether something is a hill or a mountain, because there's an exact point at which it becomes a mountain rather than a hill. And they want to make absolutely sure that it's being qualified in the right way.
Either that or it's the most elaborate selfie stick I have ever seen.
Probably no need.
It's just amazing. And I wanted to, because hobbies is such a strange thing, because you can't, unless you are hobbying with someone else who does the same hobby, it's really hard to explain, like, oh, so what do you do? You know, so I went on Lifehacks website to try and find out some like alternative hobbies.
Nice.
And sort of low cost hobbies as well, because hobbies can be expensive. You know, we talked about kayaking earlier.
Sure.
You know, trying to kayak with a whale, that's expensive. So some of them were more exciting than others, which makes me think that if you have a hobby full stop, you're a bit dull.
Right.
Okay.
If you're prepared to admit to it.
Yeah. Number 3 on this list. So this is like at the top.
Yeah. Okay,
so we're not counting down.
Okay, let's go right at the top.
And I don't think that they're either in in order of preference, I think it's just like thought of stuff. Number 3 is watch online documentaries. So gardening's in there at number 5. Play board games, number 7.
Yeah.
Oh, scrapbook important events.
Yeah, okay.
There's some other things like start knitting at number 10.
Who's got the time?
Keep up with current events.
You're a functioning human being. I would hope you would do that anyway.
And my favourite is number 36 on the list. And considering that what was number 3? That watching online documentaries is number 3. Number 36 is listen to podcasts, and they put there are funny podcasts.
Are there? I'd love to listen to one of those. Or make one.
Educational podcasts with celebrities. You get the idea.
Yeah.
So I wonder how far down the list actually making a podcast is, because this is a hobby.
Yeah, we're pretty dull. I love it. In the immortal words of Sting and the Police, I don't drink coffee, I take tea, my dear. I like my toast done on one side. It is, of course, Englishman in New York. One American's... you like that, didn't you?
I did like
One
that.
American's observations of life over here, life in Britain, have gone viral in the past fortnight because at times they're brilliant, they're absolutely accurate and spot on, generous as well, and at times they're misguided, naive, and entirely wrong as well, if you know this country as Britons do. Scott Waters is a painter. He's lived in the southwest of England, he's lived in Ireland, and he feels he's now qualified to make these judgments. He put them up on Facebook, and it's been liked on Facebook nearly 120,000 times. Just a few days ago he posted, "This has gotten out of hand, but I love the attention," and he's had some really interesting things to say about Britain.
They range from everything really. Some really good practical advice, like doors close by themselves but they don't always open. They eat with their forks upside down. I'm presuming
I'm confused by that.
Is that the putting it on the outside of the fork? You know, when you put the fork in, so you've got it the normal.
So you hold it like a pen almost.
So, yeah, so like it's like a spoon. Oh
yeah.
No, it's the wrong way around. As in,
I think he does mean so.
Wait,
So it should be like a spoon, but he says people do it like that, like going downwards, like jabbing downwards. Because you do see some people do that, but I wouldn't say all British people do it.
Right. Okay.
Come on, Scott.
That might make sense. The wall outlets all have switches on, and some don't do anything.
Yeah, that's true.
I know that.
Yeah.
The cookies are biscuits and potato chips are crisps. I can be that confusing.
True.
There's some that's quite interesting for me as well. That everyone has washing machines, but dryers are rare.
Yeah.
Obviously, we have the combi, but in America, they always go to the laundry, don't they? The laundromat.
Yeah, it's a thing. Yeah.
So. Is it because
it's down to space? Or?
No, maybe apartments. Because in a big apartment block,
true.
We're in a flat here, and if the two people use the washing machine at the same time, the whole building shakes.
Room shakes, yeah.
It's quite exciting. The bathroom light has a string hanging from the ceiling. That is quite confusing.
Yeah, quite often true. Yeah.
5,000 years ago, someone arranged a lot of rocks all over, but no one is sure why.
Stonehenge. Yeah, that's also true.
Nearly everyone is better educated than we are, and if someone buys you, I'm sliding over that one. Yeah. What else was there? Let's have a quick look. Only 14% of Americans have passports, but everyone in the UK
that was
does.
fascinating. I wasn't aware of that.
But then I suppose the US is so big and vast. You've got
take holidays in America.
You've got everything. Radio is still a big deal. The BBC is quite good.
Quite good. Yeah, damning with the faintest of praise.
What else? I think that's mostly it.
There are some that aren't quite right. As you say, that nearly everyone is better educated than we are. I'm not sure about that. You're defined by your accent, he says. Do you think that's true? Serious question.
I don't know. Being a southerner living in Manchester, I don't know.
Yeah, once or twice I think people have definitely picked up on it, and they're very aware that you're not from a certain part of the country. And perhaps people make assumptions based on your accent, what your intellect is going to be, but that's so often not true.
Yeah.
It's an interesting observation anyway. There are no guns, true. He makes that point a couple of times actually. And given recent events, it's a fair point to make. Europeans dress better than the British, we dress worse. Again, bit of a generalisation possibly. Their healthcare works, but they still complain about it. Again, it's true, don't appreciate what you've got. I really like this list.
Yeah,
I really liked it. It was fascinating to see it through someone else's eyes, our country.
But you see so many lists like this anyway, where they sort of go, "This is what it's like to live somewhere." But I think that actually, better than most lists, kind of does really give a, give a sort of snapshot of us, and also I think it reinforces a lot of the sort of quaint stereotypes of of Britain, but equally kind of delves into a little bit more. I don't know why we have plugs on our sockets.
No.
There's no reason why. And I don't know why we get so worried when we go away for 2 weeks. Oh, we must turn off all the plugs by the socket. But you're right, you leave them on
what's going to happen?
You leave them on all the time otherwise. But you're like, no, we're going away for 2 weeks. What if they spark now? There's no difference.
He did miss a few things though, Adam. Okay. We've mentioned them already. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You might know that in the States, Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles, there was a change of names.
What?
For the UK, in American Ninja, in Great Britain, Hero Turtles, because ninja was deemed to have connotations that were too violent, so it was replaced. And I don't really remember this. Michelangelo's nunchucks was changed to a grappling hook. I don't remember that. That must have been in the States with a grappling hook. And this kind of leads me on to one of my big complaints about Teenage Mutant Ninja Hero Turtles. You're bracing yourself on a little bit, yeah. So Leonardo had the swords.
Yes.
And Raphael had, they're called sai, they're like forks, pointy forks. They've got edged weapons. No one ever died. Were they the most incompetent martial artists in the world, or just very, very gifted and didn't kill anybody? Well, all you can do with those things is stab someone. Didn't see anyone get stabbed.
Yeah, but then they were.
Didn't see anyone get stabbed, Adam.
But they were fighting against like cartoon lizards and stuff like that, and they don't bleed.
Do they not?
No, so they may have died, but you just didn't see any blood. That's the difference. But then equally, like you say about like, oh, well, they've got this, and I don't even know what a grappling hook is, but I'm sure it's not as threatening as a little pitchfork.
Not really.
But then every sort of TV cartoon always had one person who had an awful weapon. So like there was Captain Planet who had like wind, fire, and then there was like heart. And it was like, what are you going to do? Love me to death.
And so often he would be the reason why they'd actually
because he'd bring them all together.
Yeah, we don't really care.
Want bloody fire to
burn things,
things, and then wind to blow them out just before they.
Donatello had a big stick, didn't he? I always thought that was a bit weak. But again, he didn't have an edged weapon, so it was justified. Why didn't you? Can tell I'm a bit fixated.
How long have you been thinking about this?
Quite a long time. Quite a long time. What else has changed? Mighty Ducks. In the UK, it was the Mighty Ducks Are the Champions, which pretty much ruined the ending straight away. Thanks very much indeed for that. And Live Free or Die Hard is what it was called in America. The film, of course, Die Hard 4.0, because live free or die is the motto of New Hampshire. And over in Britain, we're not really going to have a clue what that means. Doesn't mean anything to us. Die Hard 4.0, still a terrible film.
Story number 5 is so big that we had to come off our summer, autumn, jolly holidays to come back for season 2 just so we could cover this story. We've covered some big, hard-hitting stories over the previous months, like the pig running for mayor and other such stories, but this is the biggest. This week, the government of England decided to impose a 5p tax on carrier bags from all larger stores, and this has meant pandemonium. We are in carrier bag crisis, Wilko, and there is no way we are coming out other than paying 5p for a carrier bag.
Yeah, sure. Alarming, really, the reaction to this. And it all makes perfect sense, doesn't it? Number of plastic bags handed out by supermarkets in England in 2014, 7.64 billion. That's 200 million more than in 2013. And this is going to create £60 million worth of savings in litter cleanup costs, and £30 million in carbon savings as well to actually make the bags. It seems to make perfect sense. Everyone's got bags lying around. Surely people think to themselves, yeah, this is for the good of the environment and for the budget. Let's do this. Let's get behind this initiative. Other countries are already doing it. Let's pay 5p for a bag, or better yet, bring our own. Is that what happened, Adam? I'd like to think that's what happened.
Yeah, I think so. But the press in the UK, not ones to be sort of put off by maybe a sensational news story.
No.
Have gone down the approach of maybe sensationalism, could we say?
Have they?
Yeah,
that's a shock.
A little bit. Mostly referring to it as chaos. The Daily Mail, when plastic bag chaos looms.
Chaos.
Chaos. I don't know why it's chaos.
I'd describe a war zone as chaos. Okay, right. Chaos, interesting. Yeah, good choice of words.
And as part of this, there are other ways of getting around this loophole. I mean, just taking it back to one second. The one thing that I find a little bit annoying about it is that you have to buy bags for life now.
Well, you don't have to, but
no, they're only offering bags for life, because obviously I think that supermarkets are getting worried that you have to pay for it. So if you gave them just a little bag, so like the major supermarkets, you now get like the proper bags for life,
right?
Encouraging to bring it back and then not get another one. But what for like stuff that needs to be thrown away, like the like people who doggy bags. Who we
Yeah,
use
true. Bin bags. Yeah, use them as bin bags.
That's
yeah, so.
this could be our ticket out of this whole Wilco. We could invest in doggy bags because the shares in doggy bags are going to go up massively.
Up and up.
So as part of researching this, because we're quite late to the carrier bag charging thing. Wales has had it for a little while now, and a news story that was back in September 2012 was Tesco store left with only 16 baskets as almost 500 are stolen because shoppers refused to pay 5p for carrier bags. A sensational story here from the Daily Mail again, where they're going in and basically say that they don't say whether the shop's full and everyone's in there is using the baskets. To illustrate the point, they show a picture of an empty basket, which is pretty much which is pretty much every like an empty basket holder, which is pretty much every lunchtime if you go to any supermarket.
That's illustrated that story. Great.
So they put some quotes on it, and what they've done, and this is why I brought it up, because it ties in with the carrier bag chaos looms. But there's a quote in this story from 2012 from September. It does say, let's have a quick look. Sorry. The tax's success is a vindication of the Daily Mail's Banish the Bag campaign. So back in 2012 they had a Banish the Bag campaign, yet now they've changed their tune.
3 short years later.
That's it. If I had to carry a bag for every time they changed their tune. So that's it. But other newspapers are going down different approaches. The Express is going down a way of beating the carrier bag system. Yes, it may be 5p, and yes, you might be helping the environment, but if you buy a knife, you don't need a carrier bag, mostly probably because it's completely useless.
Good.
To buy a carrier bag, and if you get a goldfish, you still get a free one.
That's good news, isn't it? Twitter, as you might expect, went a bit mad for this story with the hashtag plastic bag chaos, or at least so predicted by the Daily Mail. Peter Haggett's odds drawer in the house that is inexplicably filled with plastic bags pays off. I played the bag futures market, won big. We like that. And Hipster Death as well on Twitter. GS Howard says, jokes on them, they haven't seen how much shopping I can fit in my mouth. So there are ways around it.
Oh my god.
Come on, people.
I love that though. Do you ever see people wandering around just eating like a whole baguette? And then you stand next to them and they just
beating the man.
And then they scan the bag. And it's like you did a half-hour shop. Like just they're eating. So just half-eaten Mars bar just going down the boop.
Terrible.
Nightmare if you go and follow behind them in the self-service checkout where it weighs everything.
Yeah,
just
there's no way. There's no way. They've got to sit on it.
That's it. They just get the guy. They press the button, get the button. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. Just heart beating apple.
Is it chaos? I don't know about chaos.
I think I've coped okay.
Yeah, I was embarrassed. I'd forgotten it was happening. Turned up at the till, didn't have a bag, and she looked at me, quite a challenging look in her eye as well. The sales assistant said, "What are you going to do about bags?" What am I going to do about bags?
Yeah,
That's right.
You tell me.
And I felt embarrassed. I did actually feel embarrassed not to have bags on me. So it might work. And in a way, it's just a shame that it's taken the implementation of a 5p charge for me to feel embarrassed about having all these bags. But I'm not just throwing them into the wind willy-nilly when I get home.
Yeah.
No, I'm keeping them.
Unless you're making...
in a bigger bag.
Yeah, in a bigger bag. To store them until they don't exist anymore. But it does beg the question though, like, right, if you're in a rush and you drop 5p on the floor, do you pick it up?
No. Well, yeah, I probably do actually.
In most cases you would, but from
2p?
Yeah, no.
We'll see how we go. I got told off at school for picking up 2 and 1p's.
Really?
That was my dull hobby. Made a fortune.
Yeah.
Well, anyway.
When you're younger, that is a fortune. You are right.
So no, you wouldn't, or would you? I don't know. The point is, now plastic bags cost 5p. I think we're going to cope. I think we're going to make it through this.
Or just steal a basket, because they were going for 25 quid a basket on eBay. Why are you going to buy a basket? If you just nick that from a shop, I'm not going to go back in with it. Oh, this is my branded basket. Going into Tesco's with an Asda one. Oh,
it's the future.
That is the thing, though, isn't it? It's like bags for life wars. Going into other stores with the other bags for life. That'll be frowned upon next.
The apocalypse is. The apocalypse is now.
Easy for you. That is it for this week's show. Thank you very much for listening. And we'll be back in a fortnight's time for another edition of the top 5 stories that we like to call the And Finally podcast. You can catch us on Twitter. You don't even have to catch us. You can put a message and we'll pick it up when we're next on.
We don't need catching. You know where to find us.
Yeah.
We're very catchable.
Well, yeah, we don't change. If we changed our handle every 5 minutes, then that would be difficult.
You'd have to chase us down.
That'd be quite good.
We want you to find us. It's the worst game of hide and seek ever.
No, yeah. Please find us. Please comment and share your stories. You can find us on Twitter at @AndFinallyPod. On Facebook, we are at @AndFinallyPodcast. And there will be links to all of the ways to listen. But the best way to listen is via iTunes. Just search for us on iTunes and as an And Finally Podcast, and you'll find us. Our little silhouette of faces will be looking at you even though we don't have eyes, and then just click subscribe and you'll never miss a show again. So thank you very much for listening. We're back in a fortnight's time. The Mantels kindly let us use their fantastic music of Men in Suits, so find them, give them some love as well. And that being said, from And Finally, I've been Adam.
And I've been Wilko.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Covering the lighter side of news since 2015.
So what does he have to say about his time in Britain? All kinds of things. Let's start with almost everyone is very polite. And that's not a bad one, is it?
No.
And I think he's kind of right as well. You run into so many polite people. The food is generally outstanding. We're going to start the whole thing again.
Oh no! No, it's really good. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
No, because I didn't think you'd come for me for the list.
Oh, right.
I was Googling what it's like for British people to live in America.
Oh, right.
Sorry.